what we call the 3 keys to learning, which is frequency, intensity, and duration. So to help your listeners understand that, it's frequency is how many times a child needs to hear something to be able to really have it.
Oh, okay.
We'd like to just tell them one time and they've got it, right? Because there's limited time for homeschoolers. But they really are going to have to hear it multiple times. And then intensity is how strong that information comes in. So, for example, if you just sit your child down with a lesson for math, for instance, and you are giving them the instruction, the input on how to do a certain thing, maybe a math concept or something. And then you go off and leave them with that page in front of them. Oftentimes, the intensity goes way down at that point, especially if their processing is low. So just a real tip on how neurodevelopment, this frequency, intensity, and duration works. We found that if you stay there with your child doing a math lesson, for instance, for say 8 to 10 minutes, and you do a problem, they do a problem. You do a problem, they do a problem. Now you think, so many people are like, isn't that cheating to sit there and do their math? But what we're really talking about here is giving input with intensity. So if you do the problem for them, it takes all the pressure off of them doing it because, sometimes those books, they give you the lesson and they teach it to you one time and they expect you to know it. Right. Well, if they see it several times, then it's so much easier for them. Right. So what we found is it actually, and, some people say, well, I don't have 8 to 10 minutes to sit here with this child on math, I got stuff to do, diapers to change and clothes to wash. And so what we found is it actually saves time because let's think of it. If they get their page done and then you've got all these mistakes on the page. Right. You go back to them and you have to go over all those mistakes. And the child's defeated and their attitude is bad because they don't want to, get it wrong. Right. And so you spend a lot more time with the emotional and the correction than you would if you just sat there and did it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yes, it's the planning, it's the beforehand instead of, picking up the pieces afterwards. And then they learn it wrong too. And then you have to correct that. And it ends up being even more work to undo what they have done.
That's exactly it. So with that frequency, you're showing them several times. They're doing it, after you. And that intensity is you're sitting right there with them. And you can catch the mistake before it even happens. Right. Getting into it. And then we suggest a very short duration, just a short periods of time instead of, the child sitting there for 30 minutes and you go back to check on them and they're upside down on the chair playing, making a fuzzball out of the carpet. Exactly. Because the time went too long. So as far as neurodevelopment, there's techniques and then there's curriculum that I've developed based on the those techniques, frequency, intensity, and duration. But also the main part of neurodevelopment is getting that brain working optimally.